It's always great having Hurricane Shane Burgos back here on the program. He's got a big fight coming up here against Billy Quarantillo, UFC 268, November 6th. Shane, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time. Always good catching up with you. Just first, how happy are you to fight in New York again? I mean, that's got to be a nice another milestone in your career, getting to fight once again at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, man. Third time. 2-0 at MSG. Looking to go 3-0. Nice, easy hour drive. Coming back home would probably be even easier with no traffic. So, man, you really can't beat it. It's probably my favorite arena to fight at just because of the conveniency.
Before we get into the actual fight itself, your brother, Ryan Burgos, our mutual friend here, Marcel, keeping us updated on what's going on with him. He got another win. How impressed were you with him, or have been impressed with him so far in his early career?
He's been impressing me since he was a little kid. So at this point, I don't really it takes a lot for him to impress me at this point, because I have high expectations and high standards for him, because I'm not just gassing him up. I think he's that good. I think it's not even a question. It's a matter of when, not if, but he will definitely be in the UFC. It's just when will he be in the UFC?
Is he someone that you get to train with on a regular basis, like in terms of, training partners and things like that?
No, he's too small. He'll probably fight at 125, maybe 135 when he gets a little bit older, but he walks around like 140, 142. So it's a little bit too small for me, but he's got a great mind for fighting. He picks things up well. He's showing me things because he's a completely different style of fighter than I am. He's more wrestling based and puts his wrestling and his takedowns in so nicely. So it's fun to watch him because I like to copy things that he does, and he shows me little tricks that he does, and the kid is fucking good.
Decent amount of time off in between your last fight. Was this the right amount of time off for you in terms of taking your next fight?
Yeah, perfect amount of time. Got to enjoy my family. I just had a 3-week-old daughter right before my last fight. So it was nice just to have some downtime, enjoy the summer, relax with the family, go on a little vacation, and then right back into camp. I mean, I really didn't stop training. The only thing I stopped doing was the hard sparring and stuff like that, but just picked right back up like I never left.
What did you learn the most in that last fight? Really tough opponent in Edson Barboza, one of the best out there in the division. What did you take away from that performance?
That I didn't lose an ounce of confidence after that fight. I really truly believe I'm one of the best strikers in the UFC, and I feel like even though I came up short, I feel like I proved that, but I don't really care if I proved it to anyone else. I proved it to myself is what I took away from that.
Let's talk about Billy Q. Kind of a fun fight, right? From the perspective of Billy's a Buffalo guy, New Jersey. There is actually like a pretty decent amount of distance between, downtown New York and Buffalo. Does that add a little bit of excitement to the fight? And plus Billy's a guy that's, pretty active on social media. So kind of adds a bit more. Do you feel the same way?
Where he's from doesn't matter. I'm more excited for the style. I'm a fan of the guy, if I'm just being honest. I like his style. He approaches the fight game very similarly to the way I do, where when the referee says go, he's going until the referee says stop. And everyone knows that's exactly how I fight. So the funny story, actually, I went on vacation in Tampa in August, and I found out about the fight right before. I was going to hit him up or hit one of his teammates up or something to see, oh, you want to train? What are the chances of us fighting? And then right before that, they're like, oh, yeah, we got Billy Q for you at MSG. I was like, all right, maybe after the fight we can hang out train, but not right now. Not right now.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, there you go. Training camp, anything different for this one? There's one guy I do see you training with a bit because I just interviewed him, Andre the Bull Harrison, who's going to be fighting for CES. How much of a welcomed addition has he been kind of doing some cross-training with him?
He was from New York. I used to train him a lot back in the day, but he actually moved to Florida. He's down at Sanford now, but he's back home for a couple weeks. So I've been sparring and training with him for the last week and a half. I think he'll be here to the end of the month. So that's been nice to have because the dude's a fucking freak wrestler, phenomenal wrestler, stocky. Dude's a powerhouse.
No one wants to fight him, right? That's been the story of his sort of career. Unfortunately, he's got a great record. A lot of people just don't want to take that risk because Andre's been beating most of these guys on the regional scene as well. Who else are you getting to work with? Jimmy Rivera, Julio Arce, the usual cast of characters, Mike Trezano?
Yep, exactly. You just named all three of my Trezano is a very similar body build to Billy, so I've been working a lot with him. He's been one of my main training partners. He's fucking crisp, man. He's so sharp. He's so technical on the feet. He's been giving me good looks, really good looks.
How much do you feel level of opposition will play into this? We just mentioned the Barboza fight. You've been in there with Calvin Kattar. Like you've had, sort of really tough opponents throughout your entire career. Billy's fought some tough guys as well, Gavin Tucker. But would you feel that that's sort of an advantage for you in this fight, just being that you've fought some, really, really notable guys in the division?
Absolutely. 100%. I've been in there with some of the best guys in the world. And even though I've come up short, I've never been blown out of the water. Every single one of my fights, every single one of my losses, I have 3 losses. One of them was fight of the year candidate, which I feel like I won against Emmett. That was a fun fight. The Barboza fight, very competitive fight, and then the Cater fight, very competitive fight. So I've never gotten my ass whooped, like just straight up ass whooped. You know what I mean? That's never happened to me before. So I do take a lot of confidence in that and a lot of pride in that. And I do think that's an asset for me.
How about the weight cut? We still got a bit of time before the fight, but everything going according to plan?
It's going smooth. It's going smooth. I actually switched up some things up for my diet for this fight for the first time, and it's been amazing. Everyone knows I'm a big 45er, but my last maybe like 2 fights, the Emmett fight and the Barboza fight, I would do keto days on my days off of training. Man, that was brutal. I almost looked forward more to my days on, my hard days, because I could have carbs than my days off. Because when my days off, they were keto, and I would just be dead, like a fucking dead fish on the couch, like no energy, lethargic. So completely ditched that. I'm not doing that anymore. Even on my days off, I'm having 300 grams of carbs, which is plenty if you guys know anything about carbs. So that's been huge, and it's been huge not just for me in training, where I'm not just focused on the weight, but I've been able to actually get good rounds, and instead of just being like, all right, I gotta get my weight down, gotta get my weight down.
That's great. So what do you get to eat? Like, what are some meals that you get to have? I'm just curious, as someone who doesn't have to cut weight.
Pancakes, which is like this Sunday I had 350 grams of carbs, which is a shit ton. I had a stack of pancakes in the morning, peanut butter pancakes. Then in the afternoon, I had penne pasta with chicken. Then at night, I actually had a pint of ice cream because it fit into my macros. So it was a pint of the lighter calorie ice cream. But man, it was good. It was nice to eat ice cream in bed.
There you go. You got to figure it out. I got to get on this too, because that all sounds delicious, and I definitely could lose a few like most people. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight? Usual coaches?
The same exact corner as my last fight. So I'll have Ron Schulman, my head coach, Ray Velez, my boxing coach, and then I'm gonna actually have Solomon Renfro, who he fought last night. He's gonna be one of my third corners.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that fight, split decision. Obviously I know you're his teammate, but I think a lot of people felt it should have gone the other way.
Yeah, man. I no disrespect to Johnny. I actually know him. I've trained with him before maybe like a year or 2 ago when I went to Syndicate. He's a really nice guy, and it's not a knock to him. It was a great fight, period. But I just don't see how Solomon lost the first or the second round. The first definitely not him. Definitely didn't lose. But the second round, if you look at the stats on the fight, I feel like he won that fight.
How do you see this fight playing out on November 6th? I know you feel like you're going to get your hand raised, but how do you envision it going down?
It's gonna be a fun fight. They're gonna say go. We're gonna meet in the middle. We're gonna clash right in the middle. First one, take a step back. I feel like that's gonna show some things, but I think he's gonna be shooting. Obviously, he's more of a jiu-jitsu guy. I'm more well polished on the feet. And I think it's gonna come down to my takedown defense versus his takedown offense. I'm a strong believer in my takedown defense, so I think I'm gonna shut the takedowns down, keep it on the feet, and I'm gonna get the finish in this one on the feet.
What do you think the implications of this fight are? It's a big card. Obviously, Billy Q, exciting guy. I mean, this has got fight of the night written all over it. Does that get you kind of back in the driver's seat where you were before the Barboza fight? Is that kind of what you're thinking with the win here?
You stole the words right out of my mouth. This is exactly what I'm thinking. And not just getting the win, but doing it the way I plan on doing it, putting a stamp on it, on a big card with a lot of eyeballs on me. Got bumped up to the pay-per-view, which has some pros and some cons. But I think overall, I think it makes it more of a big deal. I'm the second fight on the main card, right after Frank Yeager, right before the Gaethje fight. So everyone's going to be watching. I don't think anyone's going to want to miss. This is not that card that you step away from for a fight or two. Like that, all 5 of those fights on the main card, you're paying $65 or whatever you're paying. You're watching every single one of those fights. So I think going out there, making a statement, and like you said, but it's going to put me back in the driver's seat, put me in a good position.
And, a lot of things going on in your division. I wanted to ask about the Alex Volkanovski and Brian Ortega fight. And it was a little while back, but what did you think of that fight? That was one of the best fights in UFC history in terms of, some of the drama that happened, right? Especially in that third round.
That was just fun. That was just so much fun, and shows the kind of fucking guts and the heart that Alex had, because you could see his face. You could see the dude was getting choked out. And then to escape that, then only to land in a triangle right after, like maybe a minute after, which is the dude's name is T-City because his triangle is phenomenal. And then him to escape that too. I'm like, his 2 best moves you escaped. That it was just wild. And then Ortega, I thought, actually did really good in the 5th round. He looked like he was dead tired after that, which rightfully so. He fucking put 100% into both those chokes, and then Alex gets out. That's a little disheartening, but then he was able to come back. He got a second win in that 5th round. It was a great fight.
It certainly was. How many more fights do you have left in your contract? Do you know?
2 more.
2 more. Okay, so this one, and then you renegotiate, I would guess, after this one, right? So.
Plan, yes, sir.
Does that add a bit more pressure, just because obviously you want to come off a big win, and then you got a bit of leverage, right, going into the next negotiation?
I don't put too much thought into it. I'm just focused on the fight, But when I think about it, yeah, it does. It definitely adds a little more pressure. But I don't care, man. There's already pressure. I just lost my two. I lost 2 of my last fights, so there's the pressure of the world is on my shoulders right now. I'm not just showing up for a paycheck on November 6th. I'm showing up to get my fucking hand raised. So add more pressure. I don't care. Pressure makes diamonds.
There you go. Very well said. And lastly, before we get out of here, you mentioned the little one. How is fatherhood going these days? I just had my second child maybe like a month ago, so it's I can relate. How many kids do you have now? I was trying to remember.
2 daughters.
Wow. Okay. So there you go. How's navigating through that, especially this time of year?
It's an adjustment period. I'm sure you know. Yeah, you're very familiar. Especially the first month. That's a super adjustment period. And for my last one, it was 3 weeks, and then I had to leave to go to Texas. So that was crazy. And then she actually turned out to be colic. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know. That was just hard to deal with. Couldn't console her. I would literally do laps in my living room, like watching a show, just doing laps while she's just crying until she fell asleep. I'm like, she wasn't hungry. That was super hard to deal with. But she broke that about 4 months in. So now she's almost 6 months, and she's been such a good baby. Such a good baby. She eats, sleeps, plays. That's it. And then my daughter's amazing big sister. So family life is good, man.
Good stuff. Shane, thanks so much for doing this, man. We're looking forward to the card. It is UFC 268 coming up here November 6th. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Thanks to my team Tiger Schulman's, everyone that supports me. Thank you to all my sponsors: Eat Clean Bro, NutriBio, Believe Elite Athletic Training, Fuel One. I got a bunch more sponsors. I don't want to leave anyone out. I'm sorry if I do, but thank you to all you guys, and thank you for having me on the show, brother.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.